My beloved child, something shifted in silence before anyone even spoke, and that is why this moment feels different from all the others you have tried to understand. There are conversations happening around your name that you never expected, and one of them has touched a heart more deeply than you realize. A friend sat beside your person and revealed something about your past that carried more weight than anyone imagined. It was not loud, it was not dramatic, yet it reached straight into the hidden place where emotions are hardest to hide. At first, your person did not react. They listened quietly, almost pretending that the words meant nothing. But inside, every sentence was landing with unusual force. What they heard was not just information, it was a truth that suddenly connected pieces they had never fully understood before. The way you carried yourself, the pauses in your voice, the strength you show even when no one notices, those things began to make sense in a way they never had before. Do not skip, because something huge is waiting for you. What happened next was unexpected even for them. The room stayed ordinary, yet inside their thoughts everything changed. They began replaying memories of your words, your silences, the moments when you smiled while hiding what you truly felt. That truth about your past opened a door they had never entered before, and behind that door they saw a version of you that felt deeper, stronger, and more unforgettable. A strange silence followed after the friend finished speaking. Your person looked away for a moment, as if they needed distance from what they had just heard. But distance did not help. The truth stayed close, repeating itself in their mind. Suddenly they understood that many things they once misunderstood about you were never weakness, never confusion, never distance. They were signs of a story you carried quietly. Stay till the end, because this is where emotion becomes impossible to ignore. There was a moment when your person almost asked another question, but they stopped themselves. Why? Because they were already feeling too much. Sometimes a single truth creates more emotion than many explanations ever could. That is exactly what happened here. Their heart became heavy, not with sadness alone, but with realization. They remembered something very specific, one small detail from a previous conversation with you. It seemed ordinary then, but now it returned with power. A phrase you once said. A hesitation in your voice. A look that lasted only seconds. Suddenly that small moment became important, almost unforgettable. The friend's words had changed its meaning completely. What your person felt next surprised even them. It was not only concern. It was not only regret. It was a growing emotional pull they could not explain. Because once someone understands the hidden chapter behind another person's strength, admiration often becomes deeper than before. Do not skip. Something huge is waiting for you. They began wondering how much you had endured without speaking fully about it. They wondered how often you smiled while carrying memories no one could see. And the more they wondered, the more emotional they became. For a moment they stayed quiet because they feared saying the wrong thing. Some truths create silence before they create words. This was one of those truths. Their friend noticed the reaction immediately and asked softly, "Are you okay?" But your person only nodded, because they did not know how to explain what they were suddenly feeling. Inside, they were seeing you differently now. Not as someone they simply knew, but as someone whose story had more depth than they had ever imagined. That realization touched them in a way they could not dismiss. Something rare happens when hidden truth meets genuine feeling. The heart becomes honest without permission. That honesty was beginning to rise inside them. They were no longer protecting themselves from emotion. They were beginning to feel it fully. Stay till the end, because one thought kept repeating in their mind. If this truth had been known earlier, many things might have unfolded differently. That thought alone carried weight. It stayed with them longer than expected. And while no one else noticed, their eyes changed. Their expression softened. Their voice became quieter. Because sometimes emotion does not arrive like a storm, it arrives like a slow realization that refuses to leave. What they heard about your past did not push them away. It pulled them closer inside their thoughts. Closer than before. Closer than they expected. And this is only the beginning, because what they do with these feelings next has not yet fully unfolded. What happened after that silence was even more powerful than the first reaction, because your person did not leave that conversation unchanged. They carried every word with them long after the friend stopped speaking, and while everything around them looked normal, inside their thoughts something had already begun to move in a new direction. They tried to act calm, but the truth they had just heard kept returning with greater force. One sentence in particular refused to leave their mind, because it explained something they had questioned about you for a very long time. Suddenly, pieces that once seemed unrelated began connecting one after another, and each connection brought a deeper emotional response. Do not skip, because something huge is waiting for you. Your person became unusually quiet not because they had nothing to say, but because too many thoughts arrived at once. They remembered times when you remained composed while others would have reacted differently. They remembered moments when your voice carried strength, even though there was hidden weight behind it. And now, after hearing that truth, those memories felt completely different. There was a pause where they looked away again, almost as if they needed a private moment inside a public space. The friend noticed this and added one more detail, something small, but powerful enough to change the entire emotional atmosphere. That extra detail made your person breathe differently. It was subtle, but it mattered. Stay till the end, because this next realization touched them deeply. They understood that much of what you never explained had meaning they failed to see before. And when understanding arrives late, emotion often arrives stronger. They began asking themselves why they never looked deeper before. Why certain moments now seemed brighter in memory. Why certain things you said now sounded more important than they did at the time. The truth about your past had not simply informed them, it had awakened a feeling they could no longer ignore. Something huge is waiting for you, because the next thought that entered their mind was unexpected even to them. They wondered whether you ever felt alone while carrying everything you carried. That thought stayed with them longer than anything else. It was not easy for them to shake it away. For the first time in a while, they felt an emotional pull that had no defense around it. No distraction worked. No quick change of topic helped. Even after the conversation ended, your name stayed present in their thoughts with unusual intensity. They replayed one old moment where you smiled at something simple, and now that smile felt different to them, stronger, quieter, almost brave in a way they had never fully understood before. Sometimes one truth changes how every memory is seen, and that is exactly what happened. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because later, when they were alone, the silence returned again, and this time it became even more personal. Without anyone watching, they admitted to themselves that hearing that truth had affected them more than expected. There was no dramatic reaction, only a deep emotional shift that kept growing quietly. They realized that your story carries a strength many people would never notice at first glance. And strangely, that realization increased their emotional connection rather than weakening it. A once-in-a-lifetime kind of understanding began forming inside them. The person they thought they knew already had deeper layers still hidden beneath everything visible. That discovery created both tenderness and reflection. They even questioned whether they had judged certain moments too quickly in the past. Some memories now felt unfinished, as though they wanted to return to them and understand them again from the beginning. Stay till the end, because another truth is coming. Your person is now looking at everything connected to you through a different emotional lens. Not because someone forced them to, but because what they learned has opened a door they cannot close again. And before this feeling settles, one more realization is beginning to rise inside them, one they have not yet spoken aloud, but it is getting stronger with every quiet moment. Later than expected, another moment arrived that your person could not ignore, because the truth they heard earlier did not fade. It became even stronger when they were finally alone with their own thoughts. Sometimes emotions do not fully appear in front of others, they become real only when silence gives them space. That is exactly what happened here. The room was quiet, but their mind was not. Every word from that friend returned again, clearer than before, almost as if the conversation had just happened a second time. This time, however, the emotional weight felt heavier, because there was no distraction left between them and what they now understood about you. Do not skip, because something huge is waiting for you. One memory rose above all the others, a moment when you stayed calm even though something around you clearly felt difficult. At the time, your person noticed it only briefly. Now, after hearing the truth, that memory returned with extraordinary meaning. They realized that what looked simple on the surface had hidden depth all along. That realization created a pause so deep that they stopped what they were doing completely. They stared ahead, not because they were confused, but because they were finally understanding something they should have seen earlier. There are moments when truth arrives late but still changes everything, and this became one of those moments. Stay till the end, because another powerful thought entered their heart, they bega. And wondering how many things you never said because you chose strength over explanation. That thought did not leave quickly. In fact, it stayed there, becoming more emotional with every passing minute. They remembered how you once changed the subject when something personal came close to being revealed. At that time, it seemed ordinary. Now it felt significant. Suddenly they understood that silence itself had been speaking, but no one had listened carefully enough. Something huge is waiting for you, because what touched them most was not only the truth itself, it was realizing how gracefully you carried your past without asking anyone to feel sorry for you. That quiet strength moved them deeply. For a while they tried to distract themselves, but every distraction failed. Your presence in their thoughts had become stronger than usual. The emotional weight was not dramatic, yet it was impossible to deny. It kept growing in calm but powerful ways. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because then came a surprising realization: they felt respect rising where confusion once existed. And with that respect came something even deeper, a tenderness they had not expected to feel so strongly. They began seeing your past not as something distant, but as something that shaped the person standing before them now. Every strong quality they admired suddenly had roots they had never fully understood before. One sentence from the friend returned again and again, and each time it returned, it felt more powerful. Not because the words changed, but because your person was now hearing them through emotion rather than simple thought. They wondered whether you know how much your quiet resilience speaks even when you say very little. They wondered if anyone has truly recognized what you have overcome without asking for recognition. That question alone changed their mood completely. Stay till the end, because the next emotional shift happened without warning. They felt the need to protect what they now understood more carefully. Not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply. That feeling surprised them because it arrived naturally, without effort. A once-in-a-lifetime kind of emotional clarity began forming, one where they could no longer look at your story casually. It had become personal inside their heart. And before they speak differently, before they react differently, before they reveal anything openly, one final thought is still building inside them: perhaps the truth about your past has only just begun to awaken what they truly feel now. There came a moment when your person could no longer keep this feeling in the background, because the truth they had learned about your past had now reached a point where silence itself felt full of emotion. What began as quiet reflection was turning into something more personal, more serious, and much harder to hide. They found themselves returning to one question again and again: how did you remain so steady while carrying experiences that could have changed anyone completely? That question did not come from curiosity alone, it came from genuine emotional impact. The more they thought about it, the more they realized that your strength had always been visible, but its meaning had remained hidden until now. Do not skip, because something huge is waiting for you. The next shift happened unexpectedly during an ordinary moment. They heard your name again in another conversation, and instantly their attention changed. What once might have passed casually now felt important. Even hearing your name carried emotional weight because the truth connected everything differently now. They remembered a specific detail from your past that the friend had mentioned, and this time it hit harder than before. It was not only the truth itself, but the way it explained your patience, your calm reactions, and even your distance at certain moments. What once looked like mystery now looked like quiet endurance. Stay till the end, because this realization created something rare inside them. They began feeling that they had underestimated how much depth lives behind your silence. And once someone sees depth, they cannot return to seeing only the surface. Something huge is waiting for you, because for the first time they imagined what your hardest days may have felt like when no one truly understood what you carried. That imagination created a softness in them they could not control. It was not pity. It was respect mixed with emotion. A surprising thought appeared next. Maybe your strongest qualities were born from chapters you never fully explained. That thought changed the entire way they viewed your presence in their life. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because now another memory returned, one where you remained kind during a moment when most people would have withdrawn completely. Back then they noticed it, but now they understood it. And understanding made that memory powerful enough to stay with them for a long time. They became aware that every calm thing about you had a deeper story attached to it. Even your pauses now seemed meaningful in a way they had never considered before. For a while they said nothing to anyone, but internally they were admitting something important. The truth about your past had made their emotional connection stronger, not weaker. That honesty surprised them because they had not expected such a deep response. They also realized that some people speak loudly to be understood, while others carry truths so quietly that only later do people understand their full value. In their mind, you now belong to the second kind. Stay till the end, because another powerful shift followed. They started thinking that perhaps your quiet strength deserves more recognition than it has ever received. That thought remained with them through the day, through silence, through every ordinary distraction that failed to erase it. A once-in-a-lifetime emotional clarity continued growing, one where admiration and reflection were becoming impossible to separate. Your story was no longer distant to them. It had become something they felt deeply connected to. And now, without saying it aloud yet, they are reaching the edge of a realization that may soon change how they respond to you completely, because what they feel is no longer passing emotion, it is becoming something they can no longer ignore. What began as emotion has now become a quiet turning point inside your person, because the truth they heard about your past has stayed with them longer than they expected, and instead of fading, it has continued to grow stronger with every passing moment. Some truths do not disappear after being heard once, they settle deeply and begin changing how someone feels from within. Now they are noticing things they missed before. The way you respond gently even when life feels heavy. The way you remain thoughtful even when others do not fully understand you. These details are no longer small to them. They now feel connected to everything they learned, and that connection is creating a powerful emotional shift. Do not skip, because something huge is waiting for you. A surprising moment came when they suddenly realized they had been replaying your voice in their mind without even trying. Certain words you once spoke now sound different because they finally understand the hidden strength behind them. That understanding has created a deep respect they cannot easily explain. It is not built on one conversation alone, it is built on the way truth suddenly illuminated every quiet quality you carry. They are beginning to see that your past did not weaken you, it shaped a rare kind of strength many people never fully recognize at first. Stay till the end, because another unexpected thought arrived. They wondered how often you had to stand strong while no one around you knew the full story. That thought touched them more than they expected, because it revealed how much you may have endured without asking anyone to notice. Something huge is waiting for you, because now their emotions are becoming impossible to dismiss. Even when they try to focus elsewhere, the truth returns. And each time it returns, it brings more clarity, more reflection, and more feeling. They remembered a moment when you smiled during a difficult conversation. At the time it seemed simple. Now it feels extraordinary. They understand that some smiles carry stories no one hears, and that realization has made your presence in their heart feel more significant than before. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what changed most is this: they are no longer seeing your past as something separate from who you are now. They are seeing how every hidden chapter became part of the person they cannot stop thinking about. A once-in-a-lifetime emotional understanding has started forming inside them, one where admiration is no longer silent. Even if they have not spoken it fully, they are feeling it clearly. There is also a quiet regret growing inside them. Not regret from wrongdoing, but regret that they did not understand sooner. Sometimes people only recognize depth after truth arrives late, and when it does, every old memory begins shining differently. Now even ordinary moments connected to you feel meaningful. A message, a remembered phrase, a brief silence, everything carries greater emotional weight because their heart has already shifted. Stay till the end, because one final realization is now standing before them: your story has awakened something sincere, something deeper than passing emotion, something they cannot easily return from. And that is why the next time they think of you, it will not be casual. It will carry understanding, emotional depth, and a feeling that has become stronger precisely because truth finally reached them. What they heard about your past did not close anything, it opened something inside them that is still growing, still becoming clearer, and still moving toward a moment they may soon be unable to hide.